যদি কেউ কথা না কয়, ওরে ওরে ও ভাগা, কেউ কথা না কয়। যদি সবাই থাকে মুখ ফিরায়ে, সবাই করে ভয়। যদি সবাই থাকে মুখ ফিরায়ে, সবাই করে ভয়। তবে পরাণে খুলে ও তুই মুখ ফুটে তোর মনের কথা একলা বলো রে। ও তুই মুখ ফুটে তোর মনের কথা একলা বলো রে। যদি তোর ডাক শুনে কেউ না আসে, তবে একলা চলো রে। যদি তোর ডাক শুনে কেউ না আসে, তবে একলা চলো রে। যদি সবাই ফিরে যায়, ওরে ওরে ও ভাগা, সবাই ফিরে যায়। যদি গহন পথে যাবার কালে কেউ ফিরে না যায়, যদি গহন পথে যাবার কালে কেউ ফিরে না যায়, তবে পথের কাঁটা ও তুই রক্ত মাখা চরণ তলে।
Hello everyone. Today I bring to you a dialogue with a very special person. Dr. G G Parikh is very special for this project for two reasons. Number one, at 100 years, he's probably amongst the very few people from pre-independence era who's seen it all. He has lived what it means to be in a country ruled by a foreign power. He participated in India's freedom struggle. And since then, he has been relentless in fighting injustice and constructing institutions and mobilizing the youth to fulfill the dream of freedom that the forefathers of our independence dreamt. Other than this, Dr. G G Parikh and his wife Mangala Parikh, Gigi Kaka and Mangalamasi to me, were responsible for bringing my parents together. My mother's maternal home was in the same building where they lived. My parents were their colleagues in the socialist movement. And I learned today that they were the ones who brought them together in marriage. In this dialogue, we cover everything: what freedom means to him, what it meant to him during the freedom struggle, what it meant during all the struggles through his life, and at age 100, what does it mean to him? What message does he have for future generations? So for anyone who is a student of India's post-independence history and the legacy of India's imagination, Dr. G G Parikh is a perfect person to listen to. So let's listen to Dr. G G Parikh. So केम छो जी काका?
इस उम्र में होना चाहिए,
उससे अच्छा है,
ज्यादा अच्छा हो।
बहुत बढ़िया। आपसे आधे उम्र की जो लोग है उनसे भी आपकी एनर्जी ज्यादा है, तो दिस इज फाइन।
लोग कहते हैं
एंड मोर देन एनर्जी, your determination is better than anybody else who seems to give up.
The reason is very simple. I was born in those days when we saw dreams and big dreams, which is because of the leadership which Congress threw up, mostly because of Gandhiji. We were influenced. People like me and all my friends were influenced by Mahatma Gandhi. Number one. Number two, according to me, even when we turned our attention to Marx, we realized that Gandhi is better than Marx. And to that, when he kept on working till he died, and he wanted to die in a particular manner, we, or at least I feel that it will be guilty not to do what I can to realize the dream of the freedom fighters. I sometimes feel that I have not done enough. So for me, what I do is some sort of, what should I call it? Guilt feeling is there. I have not done enough. Aparadh bodh in Hindi, which is known as, and that keeps me going. It's not that I have physical energy enough, but mind is still working. I have not developed dementia.
And that's more important.
It's so far.
So I have one question now. One thing I wanted to clarify that this recording, I want it preserved for next 100 years. So that the children born at that time, when none of us will be around, they get to hear what kind of dreams founders of this country had. So before that, I have one question. Before independence, when there was British rule, we were not independent. What was the life like? Even before you met Gandhi, living in under the slavery of British, what was that life like?
Number one, there were no direct contact with the British rule at that time, in the sense when you are of younger age, you are protected by your parents. But one thing was there, in those days when I was very young, from 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years, in my family, on both sides, on my father's side as well as on my mother's side, there were people who were interested in freedom movement. And therefore my initiation in the freedom movement took place because of the family atmosphere. I remember at the age of 7 or 8, I went to an AICC meeting holding the finger of my uncle. Thousands of people were in the train to go to the meeting. I walked and reached right up to Mahatma Gandhi's cottage. Fortunately, because there was some relative of mine who was with her and I got his blessing. But that's not the reason. Because I met Gandhiji, therefore I became a freedom fighter. I became a freedom fighter because of the, or whatever you call it, because of the atmosphere then. Even as a youngster, I remember a very interesting thing. We had a big building. My grandfather owned a big building, and there was a some sort of underground cellar. Some of us, 8, 7, 8, 6, 7 children, used to sit in darkness and talk of killing some British. And another thing which we talked at that time was about Bhagat Singh, not knowing what Bhagat Singh had done, but Bhagat Singh became a hero. And more thing was, we remember Ganesh Shankar Vidyarthi. Not that I realized at the time what was the difference between Bhagat Singh and Ganesh Shankar Vidyarthi. I came to know about these things. One died to protect, to promote communal harmony, and the other died or was hanged because he fought Britishers. The difference of such things came to me as I grew older, but we talked about it. These are some of my early memories.
So, one question I have there is, during emergency, we could feel what emergency meant because there was suppression of civic rights. Even today, when there is almost a fascist agenda being pursued, we can feel it. Opponents being muzzled, media being captured, dissent being suppressed, parliament debates being suppressed. So one can understand what we are fighting in terms of our daily experience. At that time, British rule was just a foreign rule after hundreds of years of other invasions that we had. So what were you fighting against, or what were you fighting for? Were British oppressive? Were they suspending your civic rights? Why did you want the freedom?
I told you, there was no direct impression or impact on us of British rule. We were protected by parents. They may have felt it, but it did not get transmitted to us. That is one thing. Which means that we talked about freedom or whatever we call it. At that time, we may not have understood the word freedom or azadi. We talked about it because it was there in the atmosphere. If the atmosphere is full of certain ideas, these ideas gradually enter into your life, your thinking. It's like a child. Child picks up through experience. Child picks up from parents. Child picks up peer group. Something similar must have happened to me. This is how I explain. It's not that it was a logical, intellectual exercise which made me good of nature. I became because of the
Atmosphere.
I'm a product of atmosphere.
So then, how old were you when in 1947 when we gained freedom, independence?
I was in 42, I was 17.
17 years old.
42.
Yeah, in 42. So that means 5 more years. So you were 23 years old. So how did that time you were even more conscious, intellectually more conscious and aware?
Again, as I said, I'm product of
Atmosphere.
Similarly, I'm product of accidents.
Accidents.
I'll tell you something. I was there at the ICC meeting in 42. 7th, 8th, attended it as a Darshak Sadasya. Visitor.
Observer.
I heard all these speeches. Whether I understood or not, I don't know. But I heard them. From Marat to Gandhiji. I also heard the communists, 12 communists who opposed the resolution. So, what impact it had, I can't remember. I was also there on the 9th of August at Violating Bazaar, now August Kranti Bazaar. I have seen all these things. The point that I want to make out is because Gandhiji had said, you or die, you are your own, see to it that you become free. When I went home and home was for me, hostel of St. I, with some friends of mine, decided to pick at the college. We succeeded to a certain extent. On 12th, I went to Churchgate Station, got arrested, and again accidentally became some sort of hero.
That is very interesting. So you said your activism was a combination of atmosphere and accidents.
According to atmosphere.
Okay. So
not even anything else, atmosphere.
So
I have come to the conclusion. I am what I am, apart from the ideas. I am what I am because certain accidents happen in my life. I'll give one more example. I got arrested on 12th August, 3 days after the leaders were arrested. When I was arrested, and sent to Worli temporary prison. There were 15 to 16 people in one room. Every morning, thousands of people, or laborers or workers, were arrested and brought there, and in the evening they were released. At that time, I also thought sometimes that I will be one of them who will get released. But another accident took place. Some people were brought from Martha Road to Worli temporary prison. I didn't know anything because they were on the street and I was in the room of a top floor. So we couldn't hear what they were saying. We thought they were protesting. We also thought that when they, in the evening, went to their room, they won. We started shouting Inkilab Zindabad. That was in the air. We thought that they won. So we started shouting. The wardens came and started beating us. I didn't run because that's what we were told, that if you want to become a freedom fighter, you cannot run away. You have to take the beating as best as you can. Suffer. I was prepared for it. Because all my student days at that time when I studied, the one thing which we were trying to do, or many of us were trying to do, was to prepare oneself to go to jail, to make sacrifices, to be willing to die. These are the things. They have become some sort of ambitions as far as we are concerned. To be something means not to be something, to be ready to go to jail. That's one objective which many of us, or one dream which many of us saw. Now, but then I realized that when I was in jail, not that I was afraid or anything, but I definitely felt that someday I'll get released. After the beating, I gave up thinking about getting released. I prepared myself to be there for a long, long time. So again, that's an accident. My thinking or my personality changed a lot.
So, another question. For me, who was not a part of that atmosphere, uh, the best understanding of freedom comes from Rabindranath's poem, Where the Mind is Without Fear. That's where I can actually imagine what freedom means. When and how did you understand what freedom means? To what?
To be number one, because I'm exposed to that atmosphere. Whenever congressmen came to the city or wherever I was living, I attended their meetings. Whenever Gandhiji passed through that station, I went to have a lesson. Now, it doesn't mean that I understood what freedom meant, but I became aware of this because I read in my matriculation a book called भारत में अंग्रेजी राज. भारत में अंग्रेजी राज. That book influenced me a lot. Before that I read Gandhiji's autobiography. I used to read the small pamphlets on Mazzini, Garibaldi and so on, so on. They were distributed very freely and the prices were in paisas. It's very cheap. But Nehru, Gandhi, these are books which we read avidly. But more important was this particular Bharat mein Angrezi. In fact, it brings me to such an extent that at the time of examination, I shifted from the ancient period of history to modern.
So, what do you remember about that book?
I realized from that I realized what it means to be free. what it meant to be slave, what it meant to be ruled by someone outsider, what it meant to be Indian or Bharati. This is one thing which I realized. The other thing, when my growth, intellectual growth, if you can call it, developed through the jail.
Through
Jail.
jail.
I was the youngest. So everybody who was in that jail looked after me as if I was their own child. I started reading maths at that time. I didn't know anything about maths when I went to. Not much, anyway. Yeah. I read almost everything that one can think of, which was popular. I even learned English in jail. Learned English, and some improvement took place when I was in jail. And there were people who used to take study circle every evening. Then there was, with me, in the same room, there were 7, 8 people. One male choir used to sing Rabindra Sangeet and told us about Guruji or Rabindranath Tagore. From there I came to, because of it, I came to know about him. And Rohit Dave was just opposite the same jail, in the opposite room, used to teach us Marxism, philosophy, science, physics, mathematics, so on and so forth.
Jijika, do you need water?
Permanent job. So that is how number one question, because of my influence on me of Gandhiji, I right from the beginning started questioning Gandhian thinking, Marxist thinking. There's another reason also. To me, it is more important. In St. David's College, communists had concentrated because it was a sort of a cosmopolitan college. There were Christians, Muslims, Hindus, so on and so forth. I came under that influence, and I was not the only person, but there were many who became socialists later on, came under communist influence. They used to sell a magazine. The magazine was at that time called Imperialist War. I used to sell it every week. Suddenly I found that the Imperialists became people's world. I couldn't understand that change. I tried, but I couldn't, and I couldn't accept it. So some sort of disillusionment took place. And immediately thereafter, there was the ICC meeting. One thing that, by looking back, I became anti-communist. Not because of the change of name, but more because they betrayed the movement. Then I realized that it's not the first time that the communists had not participated in freedom movement. I had a friend in jail, die-hard communist. So we used to talk, discuss, and I learned quite a lot about their thinking. What happened therefore was that in Valley Temporary Prison, in the 10 months that I was there, we discussed what to do if we are released. And we decided teachings, and all three, according to me, are very important. Number one, we were students, Communist Students Federation. We decided that if we ever get out of jail, the first thing we would do is to capture Students Federation, failing which we'll set up alternate. student away. He succeeded. The student congress came into being because of us in Bombay, becoming All India body. Another thing which we came to know that communist said if Indian People's Theatre Association, IPTA, they had betrayed that we decided that we will have a parallel relation which came to be and was Christian as Indian National Theatre.
Damu Javeri's.
Damu Javeri later on. Initially Rohit Javeri, Damu Javeri was part of it, and Kamalaji was such a party. So it came into being. Became a very big organization. Unfortunately, Birla took it over, that's a different thing. But it was a cultural organization with ambition to replace IPTA. That is right. Third thing, AITUC had been captured by communists. We decided to set up a trade union, which ultimately became Hindu Muslim Sabha. So what I want to tell you is that we as youngsters, we as youngsters, I'm emphasizing because of the fact British, because of its policy, released the students first. I got released after 10 minutes of jail. Like me, thousands of students, probably all over India, after got released. What happened because of this was, we were in jail, we came out, the leaders were in jail, but we were out. We became virtually in Bombay UPCC. And we did what UPC would have done in their action. And that trained us a lot. There was a dock explosion. We provided relief to thousands of people. We organized shelters, gave them food, and helped them in whatever way we can. The important thing which I found was we have such credibility that nobody ever refused to help us. You go anywhere, ask for money, if you ask for 5, they might give you 10. That was the type of atmosphere.
But just one quick question. This was before Congress Socialist Party was formed, right?
Yeah. The Congress Socialist Party was already formed, but it was bad. I'm talking about period between 42 and 46.
Okay.
And in 46, when these leaders came, the CSP was revived.
Okay.
So I'm talking of that 4-year period when we were the BPCC in Bombay. We used to hold meetings, annual meeting sessions. We used to pass resolutions. We used to organize strikes. We used to provide relief. We participated in Aryan mutiny. We would fight communists. Everything we did in that period. That is because of some sort of apprenticeship of that type that I learned quite a lot. Probably, I don't know whether I became a leader, but I at least became somebody who can understand politics. So my understanding of politics is partly because of this, partly because of the family background, partly because it was there in atmosphere. And then I read, and that reading habit developed in the field.
And that reading was primarily Marxian reading. The reading was primarily Marxian reading.
The reading in jail was more about Marx, more about left movement. What happened to Trotsky? What happened to Spaceship Europe? What happened to various revolutions in Europe? All this reading was there. But because there were study circles and because there were Gandhians who were there in jail, we also learned other things. And Gandhian understanding of Gandhian thinking gradually improved in jail, but more so when we started defining ourselves or distinguishing ourselves from communists.
So,
That's an important point. We claim to be Marxists initially.
so I have one question here. And I see this with my father also and with you. You both were initiated into freedom movement through various factors, but Gandhi was a big part of it. But you both moved to Marx. And then eventually in the later part of your life, you became Gandhian. And you rejected, kind of subdued your influence of Marx. So my thing is, if Gandhi's influence was so strong, why did you even drift into Marx?
Because one reason I can think of, one probably instinctively identifies revolution with blood. Because all revolutions in Europe were bloody revolutions. So revolution and blood became some sort of synonymous. And not to think that there can be a non-violent revolution. I mean, not to think that there can be revolution without blood requires some sort of training. I think gradually, apart from Gandhi, when JP started talking about revolution, which can be non-violent or which can be without blood, our understanding, according to me at least, my understanding, improved.
So your understanding of non-violence.
More than non-violent, revolution.
Okay. So that means your understanding of the shortcomings of bloody revolution versus non-violent revolution.
So, what I'm trying to explain or emphasize is that initially revolution and blood went together,
Yeah.
and later on, as I came under influence of Gandhiji, more because of
JP.
who are advocating something, that revolutionary change need not necessarily be bloody.
I get it.
But when we started defining ourselves as socialists of Indian variety, I call it Indian variety socialism, we started questioning many of the postulates of Marx, a dictatorship of the proletariat. In Europe, one could understand proletariat. Here, industrialization had not taken place. So many questions. Where is the proletariat? There was a working class. It was too small. Then at that time, also we are talking about China. In China, Kuomintang was there. So many things were happening simultaneously. So many ideas were coming from all over. And because we had time to read, time to listen to people who knew them. So in this sort of atmosphere, gradually our thinking developed and when we started defining ourselves different from communists because they had betrayed and we had not. We were part of the communists, they were not. So in that process, I think our intellectual clarity developed much more.
Get it.
Which is such an important question. Almost everywhere, end justifies the mean. Like RSS now, communists claim everywhere, end justifies the mean is taken for granted. We decided, according to me, because of Gandhi, means and ends have to be in some sort of unity. So unity of means and ends became a principle of socialist movement after a lot of churning, according to me, it's not easy to come. I remember days when I used to insist that our meals have to be pure. I used to be abused even in the socialist movement. So it took long time, but I think socialist movement after 2 decades came to the conclusion that if meals are not pure, then should be the way all revolutions have ended. The power ultimately goes or imitates those who were powerful. It's happening now, even in this country.
Get it?
That sort of thinking developed because of not so much because of intellectual activity, but because what was happening around and because according to me, Gandhi.
So, one quick question: do you think JP's belief in non-violence came from Gandhi, or did it come from somewhere else?
I've stated, I don't know if you remember his book, Why Socialism. In that book, KP says that he doesn't say that revolution has to be very original, but he says if you want socialism, then power is a must. And when he says power, he defines what it will do. It will suppress opposition, suppress opposition. And then this man or this leader of ours, who as a Marxist talks of bringing in socialism, and the means doesn't matter whether you get power through vote or through coup. These are his words. You can quote it. That man changes later on. That means what I'm trying to say is that socialists started questioning gradually, but not fully, the essentiality of power for ushering change, which to me is very important. He started by saying that if you want change the society, you need power. Gandhi was never in power, never, and but I changed. And I was not the only person. Millions of people changed. The question which I kept asking, not then, but for several years afterwards, how did he change this? This has become a very important question, even the very power. Even after freedom, he never tried to be in power. And yet, he has left so much of influence of millions of people all over the world. I have tried to answer for myself why did we change because of Mahatma Gandhi. The answer sometimes I get, why do people change because of a religious leader? They develop a different, of course, if you want to define in terms of power, they develop a different type of power. But it's a concept. Power is a human concept. So power can be defined as a state power. Power can be defined as a spiritual power. But power is needed. I have come to the conclusion, personally, at least for the last few years, if we need power to change society, at least state power, and a situation arises when people like you, I'm a socialist still, Gandhian socialist, I call myself, will never come to power. Which means, shall I have to say socialism will never come? I do not want to come to that conclusion. I think socialism is the only solution to the problem. Gandhian socialism. Let me be very clear. Indian socialism or colonial, ex-colonial socialism. That is solution to the ills of society. And so therefore our faith should remain in that. Unfortunately, according to me, what is that even the socialists committed, those who commit themselves, those who swear by JP, Loya, Acharya, and all sorts of leaders, have now stopped claiming to be socialists. They have started defining themselves by expanding or by paraphrasing the word socialism. I repeatedly, whenever I get a chance, I want to say, I want to be socialist. I want to remain socialist. I want to die socialist. But an Indian socialist. That is one part of it. Because I feel that unless there is a word which explains your thinking, the, the change in man by some diffused ideas doesn't take place. A focused word is necessary even to achieve some sort of change. I remember reading somewhere, if there is God, then I will say, for me, socialism is God.
So I have one question here. You talked about if we don't gain power, the Gandhian socialism may not come in your lifetime.
Power.
Yeah, power. So do you still think through Gandhian socialist non-violent means the kind of future you imagine can actually come without using power?
Yeah. So point is, changing society by diktat, that was the utopian socialist reach. All utopian socialists in Europe reach bringing socialism to the diktat. They also achieve power through any means, coup, whatever you call it. Bolsheviks came to power. Point is, you could succeed in changing in men. If Russia achieved communism, let us say, did Russian people become the type of people which communism visualized? I find that, see, when you talk of an ideology, you, apart from power, you also talk of a type of person or a society which you wish to create. When I become a Gandhian, let us say, as an example, I accept simplicity. I have a very particular type of growth. I live in a particular manner. I become some sort of a person who believes in plurality. My character, to a large extent, remains much better than any other group in this country. I believe in peace. I believe also that I don't want to grow at the cost of someone. To me, it is very important. If I become man, I won't say that I want to grow at the cost of Afghanistan or Burma or Bangladesh or Pakistan. I would say they should also grow, I should also. And here I remember L.C. Jain. L.C. Jain used to tell us in the center whenever he came to give a lecture. He talked of a group of Adivasis, children, who ran a race. And one of them, they were all Adivasi, reached the place where if he had just crossed, he would have won. He doesn't. He waits for the people, catches the others to come and crosses together. He tried to emphasize that in this, in even race, an Adivasi Adivasis want that everybody should win together. Gandhi, according to me, wanted everybody to win. To me, that has become a very important guiding principle.
Next question. If I look at some of the early leaders of the socialist movement, JP, Narendra Dev, and Achyut Rao, all three of them took a spiritual path. Narendra Dev was drawn to Buddha, JP went into Sarvodaya movement, and Achyut Rao went to J. Krishnamurti. How is it that you didn't go that path?
So, point is, because again, I've been thinking, why did Sani Guruji commit suicide so early after independence? I was there when he died in KM Hospital. I was a student there. And that death has always kept me thinking about why a man like Sani Guruji committed suicide. He took tablets. And he was, of the 3-4 days that he was there, I used to go to him. At that time, after war, so many intellectuals committed suicide in Europe. So suicide became a very important issue for me. I'm talking about intellectuals, and I started was, according to me, an intellectual of a different, like Vinoba. Rohit Dave used to call Vinoba an Indian intellectual. He defined Vinoba as an Indian intellectual, means he wanted to distinguish him from European intellectual. But that about. What I'm trying to say is that most people, in spite of the fact that I'm a medical man, I have learnt biology a lot, even sometimes feel that there's nothing like spirit, sometimes. Behaviorism, Watson, so on and so forth. My one feeling is man is not satisfied with material comfort. He wants something more than that, something different from that, or something that transcends. And is that why it has happened? No explanation. But it is something that which attracts him. So people like whether it is a true person or Sani Guruji, Acharji, even Ambedkar later on, they want to have for their satisfaction something more than material. In this country, according to me, Tyag is valued above hope. Tyag and sacrifice is valued above hope or vilas. We want hope, but we praise Tyag. We admire people who sacrifice. Now, this why it happened. As a biology student, I have come to that if biology or nature creates certain type of things for the need of the body, it also creates something which is above whatever you call matter. So in those days,
Metaphysical.
there was a controversy. Will and matter. Will, controversy between who is more powerful, will or matter. Many people thought in terms of matter is more important. There were some who thought in terms of will is more important. I came to the conclusion. Socialists came to the conclusion. Both are Gandhi. For Gandhi, what was important was will, according to my understanding, I think will is probably more important than what we call matter. That sort of understanding I've developed. It helps me in the sense that because I believe that certain things have to happen, I keep working, I keep doing what I can, sometimes even sacrificing my comfort.
So, but you didn't join Sarvodaya, you did not join, you didn't become Buddhist, you didn't.
Two reasons. I was influenced by Sarvodaya. I'm sorry, I was influenced by Vinobaji's Buddha movement. But in the socialist movement, there were two trends. JP joined Buddha movement. When JP joined Buddha movement, most socialists felt that he has betrayed us. We did not realize that JP, when he joined, he did not do it because he wanted to betray the socialist movement or because he was abandoning socialism, but because we were looking for a different way of changing society. That's what
Would you call that spiritual?
I learned the two things. One, power changes or change power in nature. Second, you can even change people by making appeal to them. Vinobaji made appeal. I've seen thousands of people having partners dependent, putting some money, giving donation, thinking in a particular manner. All these things I've seen. JP, because the interpretation of the socialist movement was that he betrayed the socialist movement. So, to a certain extent, we did not look to Buddha movement the way we should. And to me, what is important is if JP had not joined and if we had not felt that it is JP's betrayal of the socialist movement, probably we would have looked at them in a different manner. In that case, a new possibility would have arisen that for changing society it's not necessary that you should be power. Even without power, change is possible. Freedom movement changes. Freedom movement made us welcome. Freedom movement made us give up our caste. Freedom movement made us think about universal or Sarvadharma Sadbhav. Socialists did not accept Sarvadharma Sadbhav. They talked of secularism. But I have come to the conclusion after many years of thinking that Gandhian Sadbhav was much better than the socialist thinking as far as, and I think Dandoche also came to a similar conclusion later in life. What I am trying to say is that if power or Dr. Luia's words, will to power, had not become such a powerful slogan in our lives, we would have evaluated Sudan movement in a different manner. And if we had done that, and if Vinobaji had not gone over to Indira Gandhi, our history would have been.
Very interesting. Now that takes me to another question is, but JP came back from Sarvodaya and led the Sampurna Kranti Andolan. So did he see the shortcomings of that path that he was taking and came back to a realization that you need to grab power in order to transform the society, or was it something else?
It's a true thing. According to the usually joined in the Buddha movement out of Sarvodaya, According to me, remain a socialist at heart. And he died as a socialist. What is important, I mean, it's a very different type of interpretation of mystery. JP, like, achieved something. He left the socialist movement, joined Krishnamurti. Right? Important point which I want to emphasize is this. Those who disagree with the party line, most of them split the party. JP did not split the party. Achut did not split the party. Danvate never split the party. To me, Danvate not splitting the party is more important for realizing the ideological objectives of the movement. And those who split destroyed the very possibility of realizing that ideology. That's why I've never understood why Madhu did a particular thing.
Madhulimaya.
Madhulimaya. Why George did a particular thing. And let me give an example. HMS HMKP merged in Rajasthan. George was not elected as chairman. Peter Alvarez was. George proved the unity same evening.
Oh, after Peter Alvarez was elected.
Yeah, same evening.
Was this in Banaras?
Jaipur, Rajasthan.
Jaipur, acha.
To me, it is very important. Socialists, by and large, did not develop the democratic character which was necessary for democratic society. Danvate had that character. Danvate, to me, even when he disagreed, accepted the party line, remained faithful to the extent it was possible. I remember his saying, I want to die under the same.
Wonderful. So, one question. During emergency, George had this Baroda Dynamite, what do you call, not case, but action. And at that time, all the socialists, including you, were sympathetic towards him, supported him when he got caught. What was your intellectual explanation of that? Did you fight him? Did you persuade him?
Number one, the socialist acceptance of non-violence initially were tactical and conditional. When there is democracy, violence is not necessary. Number one. Number two, the violence should be such that human life is not affected. This sort of thinking had developed in the communist or socialists of our time. So it is this which is important to. We must remember it is Dr. G who prepared us for not only too young, but who prepared the socialists for going underground. That is one thing. Now we had forgotten what underground movement was. We had only read about it. Or the JP, or the jail, or Urushamati. Point is, when emergency was launched, S.N. Joshi at a meeting in Pune told some of us that some people should go underground. But that was after the emergency was declared. As far as I am concerned, I left home after reading the news in the morning and never came back home. So, for me, because I was part of the party, to movement, it was easy for me to decide that I have to go underground. And I knew what Lohiya had said. After that, we tried to organize a meeting in Pune. An important point to me that George, according to me, was more romantic than practical. When he tried to get dynamite from Bihar to Gujarat and send it back to Bihar.
I think CGK Reddy has written in his book, CGK Reddy has written in his book that George did not really have the intention of bringing about the blast, but more about just creating the atmosphere of that.
To me, George wanted to do something. He went underground, yes, like us. He moved also, like us. But practically the same. You get dynamic from here to Gujarat. And I helped him not only to remain underground, but also to see that the dynamic is stored. He never did anything. I kept him at a friend's place. I saw to it that the dynamic is stored in Patwari's garage. Murar was there at the time. I saw to it that when necessary, it was shifted to another friend's place. And I also saw to it that dynamic is sent to Bihar by another social. So I helped.
But you were never, they never made a case against you, right? He was not, Sonal, Gigi Kaka was not one of the those arrested for Baroda Dynamics.
Yes, you
Oh, he was? Oh, okay.
Later on.
Okay.
See what happened was, I was there as a coach, George. Sonal used to come there. I was in Ahmedabad because I said to Bagaram and I, not Bagaram, Bagaitra, Tasha and I should be good. So we were in Gujarat. One morning, one doctor Ashok Mehta.
Actually, I met you at that. I met you and George at Dr. Mehta's, Ashok Mehta's house.
So he rang up and said, he has come, I wanted some patient. He talked very loudly, take him up. So, and Sudhasu said, on that day we went to leave for Bombay. So he said, you look after him, I'm going. So he went back. I was there, I looked after him. So something, what I did was, I took one doctor to see and had a bungalow. And they were only husband. The bungalow was in the same street in which I was living. That means at my sister's place. We kept him there. Got him in touch with the, because there was a Morcha Sarkar in Gujarat,
Babubhai Patel's.
Bombay Patel, and Kaka party. I was part of that, somewhere in the, not of the government, but in the permission of the government. Because I was sent to Gujarat to see that one or two socialists become cabinet minister. So I had some influence. Anyway, I tried hard to see that when George wanted to leave Gujarat, somebody should take him. I succeeded, but I will go into the details. The important point that I'm trying to say that the using dynamite not to kill but to destroy state property was a sort of a thinking which was there during the 42 movement, which was revived by George, and there were some others also who thought that way. And it proves that socialists had not accepted non-violence the manner in which Gandhiji wanted. That is one part. It's not that I accepted it, but
You accommodated it.
in a sense, I mean, two things. To me, it didn't make sense to send dynamic to Bihar, where We had mixed enemy. So that was one thing. Another thing is, there was nobody to take it. And number three, we were not trained in the 42 movement. People were trained to make bombs and how to use. Here, there was only memory. There was no practice. We didn't know anything. So it was sort of an amateur thing.
I get it.
That's the
Right. So now I want to move forward and reference the history. You said that as you were growing up in the early years of your politics, communists were your target competition. But at that time, even Johnson did not participate in freedom movement. They were still incubating the dream of Hindu Rashtra. Did you undermine their long-term threat by focusing on communists? Because now what I see is communists in later years became your fellow travelers, and Johnson turned into BJP has become the biggest enemy. So does that route go back to you undermining the real threat back in the days?
number one. Johnson had tactically decided to support JP movement. And I don't know whether it was a planned thing, but probably possible. They thought that they will develop some sort of respectability if they support JP movement. And socialist, because he was our leader, and we had an attachment to him, so we supported wholeheartedly. Indira Gandhi, according to me, wanted to justify what she had done. So she implicated RSS cadres and sent them to jail. They were not ready for it. I have lived with Chambers because I was in the evidence person. He was in one barrack and I was in another. So we used to meet every day, every evening, sometimes we used to have dinner. I have seen them talking about offering apology. So all that history I know. I also know that their vision was very limited. Gita, Shastra, beyond that, nothing. That apart. Important to me is during the JP movement, JP thought that if these people join the movement, ultimately they will change. It didn't happen yesterday. It did not happen partly because the experiment was short. If we remember, Tamil Nadu wanted the win, and it was a very powerful movement. But thanks to the democratic constitution, we accommodated them, and now there is no talk of them this time. If, suppose you, under JP's influence, some cadres of Johnson had changed, the chances were that RSS could have changed its thinking. For that, we needed a little more time. We, some social, precipitated the split in the Janata Party too early, or that experiment succeed. That is one thing. Another thing, JP was not friend, and Morarji Desai, though he became Prime Minister because of JP, he had his own thinking. And his thinking, I don't think was in tune with JP. And therefore, the type of support which JP expected did not come.
Support from Moraji Bhai.
Did not come. In fact, he became Prime Minister and therefore he thought that he can ignore JP. So my understanding of is that JP did certain things with a particular objective in mind. He paid because of his age. He paid because of the circumstances. Then he paid because of a particular thinking 2 times. Next election, under whose leadership? Under Moraji Desai's leadership or the leadership of the intermediate caste? That is challenge. That was one thing. Another thing was CP expected that BJP will gradually give up its relationship with RSS and become a independent party like any other. It did not happen. And third thing, BJP right from day one met in advance to decide what to do and then came to the meeting. We were too sincere and good. We accepted unity so honestly that we did not do it. Let me explain. If there's a meeting today of a national executive, BJP people and Johnson would meet and decide what to do. Socialists, in spite of the fact I pleaded that we should do the same thing as some others were there, we did not do it. So we did not go to the meetings as a sort of united. We were divided, SP, SSP, that is one part of it. Then some people in Congress. So congressmen could use the privileges between SSP, PSP on the one hand. So that in that sort of politics, that JP's experiment of changing RSS, which is thought was a discipline body, which is true, could have been a good thing for country. But that experiment failed.
I get it. So now I want to come more into a more recent past. Today, Narendra Modi and BJP are championing Hindu nationalism. I understand your perspective on Hindutva, but what about nationalism? Is today's nationalism different from the nationalism that you fought for during freedom struggle? Or is it relevant?
Today, I think nationalism will always remain with me. I think nationalism will always remain relevant. But that nationalism has to be understood the way Kaji understood it, according to me. And I am aware of the fact how Guruji Abhidhan, Rabindranath Tagore thought of nationalism. I am also aware of all the thinking of nationalism. My point is, regional identity is a thing which cannot be written out. Point is, can we tame the regional identity? Not by to say, I am Marathi speaking, I am Indian, I am Turkish. So he was trying to say that different identities will always remain, but there has to be an identity which goes beyond your geography, beyond your caste, beyond your religion. And for him, socialism was the identity. It is that socialism which united everybody. Now, we could not create that sort of global identity. It is because we did not accept Kantian thinking wholeheartedly, or we did not understand. I don't know how it is. Kanji never advocated that I want to go at the cost of Pakistan, or I want to be better than Pakistan. So he wanted to go to Pakistan. We interpreted it as to save lives in Pakistan. To me, what was important was he was trying to give a message, but that Vasudeva Kutumbakam, which we talk, he really wanted that sort of thinking develops on him. He never condemned British people, he condemned their imperialism. So this sort of distinction between people, that is karta and kartya, the work or activity and the actor. That sort of division between the two has never been advocated in politics. Taki, to me, that's a very important thinking. Another thing, how did we identify unity in diversity? The mantra which this country has given is unity in diversity. It is this unity, diversity, which has saved us till today. If Hindutva comes, I don't think that we will be able to save ourselves. All the predictions after independence for nearly 2 decades, it said that India will break up, might come true if Narendra Modi, RSS, remain in this country for the next 10 years.
So, for a child growing up 2 generations from now, when none of us will be around, what should nationalism mean?
To me, nationalism should remain merely a geographical identity. Number one. Nationalism should not inspire competing with the other nations. Actually, today, the global objective should be to save the planet, which means environment has to become most important. And younger generations have become very conscious of the fact that we have to save the planet. So the global objective hereafter is not is going to be how to save the planet. And when we think about it, my being Indian doesn't remain important. I will have to go back to a situation where I change my life, take from Gandhian thinking, reduce my unnecessary wants, so on and so forth. So nationalism, the way we understood it till today, understand it today, or understood it past, or is understood even now in Europe and America, that will have very little importance. The climate change will take over and our thinking will have to change if we want to change it. Otherwise, we're likely to get perished.
So, now a question comes up in my mind is I've been to China many times. It's a dictatorship, but they are really focusing a lot on environment. They're making a lot of policies for environmental conservation. So that seems to be that conflict. On one hand, they are a dictatorship, they are suppressing dissent, they are limiting citizens' rights. But at the same time, they are dedicating themselves to the cause that you just expressed. Isn't that a contradiction?
So it's important thing. China wants to compete with America. Earlier Russia wanted to, now China. Now when you want to compete with somebody, you have to be better, stronger, healthier, so on and so. As long as that is there, whatever they do, they cannot save the planet. China have done a lot in terms of doing something for climate change, and we should emulate them. The important point is, as long as the type of competition, either in a capitalism or at the world level, Committee of Nations is there, it is impossible to save the planet. We have to talk in terms of war less, armament less, war. That means we have to learn how to resolve or mediate our conflicts. Wars have to be banned. Population has to move down, not in the manner in which Sanjeev Gandhi wanted or Europeans taught us, but in a different manner. So many things will have to do. We'll have to learn to live without a personal instrument or computing. Carless world will have to become a reality. So many things will have to be done, but I'm sure this sort of thinking, younger generation will develop. And chances are that the youngsters will think in terms of also but they will also accept one guardian thing. Boycott everything that is foreign.
Thank you. So I just have two more questions and we'll end this. One is, tell me a little bit about your friendship with my father. How did you meet? How did it evolve?
Totally. When we joined socialist movement in India, in a sense contemporaries. Number one. Number two. And I mean, to me, he was a friend, person, at the personal level, and also a sort of a leader, a sort of, I say, our thinking was similar in this sense, I'll tell you. Both of us decided that we will not contest elections and work for the party, because for us, party was the instrument of society. But what happened was, because Narko died suddenly, and Narko and I were, according to me, quite close, same with Danwate. And Danwate had to be forced to fight election. His life changed. My friendship partly because we were in the same movement. We remained in the same party. We remained in touch with each other. See? And even when we differed, our respect for each other remained. So a sort of emotional attachment. You'll be surprised to know, whenever I visited Delhi, he personally, even as a minister, took part.
Well, you did the same thing. When my mother died, this was his home.
He was a minister, I was not.
Yeah, but
He was a minister. He was somebody. I was just forgetting. It was something which, that was his qualities which you cannot define. To me, the most important quality is love. He remained honest. He done his job. To be honest was not at the time. But many say he did not. His personal integrity was ennobled, and that to me is very important. When I saw Sushi's changing, he did not change in that direction. There were many people from Narayan Zavde, Shantaram Pandey, Anu Varde, Son Singh Kohli, Manal. Their personal integrity was the one question. The difference to know between Ganpati and some others was his faith in the instrument which he created was so great that he was willing to accept dissent. If he disagreed, he did not remove it. He did not remove it. He tried to work for change, but breaking or splitting the movement was something which was not accepted. And Sonar has tried to get out in that.
Okay, now my last question. Please say something to a child born 50 years from now. You can say anything.
And I don't know what I can tell the child born today, but if I think of it, what I would say is that the younger generation, which is becoming climate conscious, will have to go back to either the old seers or Mahatma Gandhi, change his or her lifestyle and think of the entire humanity, including nature. Live in the nature, live as quickly as you can. That sort of thinking, if younger generation develops, then the short period which is available before we reach the tipping point may make a change.
Thank you so much, G G Kaka.
I'm sorry if I'm happy if I'm not disappointed.
Oh, no. This is precious. Your voice needs to be preserved for hundreds of years.
वैष्णव जन तो दीन कहिए जे भीड़ पराए जाने रे वैष्णव जन तो दीन कहिए जे भीड़ पराए जाने रे पर दुखे उपकार करे तोए पर दुखे उपकार करे तोए मन अभिमान नाने रे वैष्णव जन तो देने कहिए जे पीड़ पराए जाने दे वैष्णव जन तो दीने कहिए जे पीड़ पराए जाने दे सकल लो